that time, and you're just in time. Hello, welcome to Do Not Talk, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about: religion and politics. That's me, Charlie Simons. Always been the loud one in the room. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm anxious for you to meet my guest. I'm a big fan of Moms for Liberty. I became familiar with them when I'm meeting people who are showing up at school board meetings during the whole COVID shutdown. And we started seeing on our computer screens what our children were being taught in their classrooms. That's one of the few good things that came out of COVID was these moms, especially seeing what these clowns, these pigs, these groomers were teaching your children, our children. Her name is Leslie Sawyer, and she's with Moms for Liberty, but she's also with a media group in Northern California, too, that I'm anxious to tell you all about and find out more myself about what they do. But talk about those groomers and what they are trying to teach our children. Here's a fine example of what's going on right now.
Driving me crazy lately. I saw two politicians in two different speeches talk about protecting minor attracted persons. You're talking about files.
Yes, you heard that correct. Democrat politicians like Karen Berg are now referring to people who prey on kids as minor attracted persons. And it gets even crazier. Listen to her argue in favor of them having those adult dolls made to look like kids.
Completely unfamiliar with child dolls. There are what they call MAPS, minor attracted persons. These dolls actually decrease proclivity to go out and attack children, that it actually gives them a release.
This is completely sick and depraved. And I'm not doing this video because she's a Democrat. I'm doing this video because what she is proposing and saying is sick. If this was a Republican, this would be the same video. But there seems to be only one side who's pushing this depravity. We should be protecting kids. We're not doing that by giving those who prey on them dolls that look like kids to do things with and referring to them as minor attracted people, period. They want to normalize that philia. Many of us have been sounding the alarm saying that this was their end goal. If they can make us believe that kids can consent to medical procedures that will change their life for the rest of their life, they can make us believe that kids can consent to many other things.
You know how that happens? By good people doing nothing. By sitting back and going, well, I don't want to cause any waves, or, well, they choose that lifestyle. Listen, if that's your attitude, that makes you complicit. That makes you an accessory to this crime against humanity. I've said it many times, you can do whatever you want with your own stupid adult body. But the moment you start jacking with children, you have a whole new set of problems with people like me. And you have a whole new set of problems with people like Leslie Sawyer. You're gonna meet her next here on Do Not Talk. Hit it.
Yep, here it comes. Riding his trusted steed through the Sierra foothills as he brings you the news. He calls himself
Charlie!
What you doing, Charlie?
Sorry, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. There you are. Look how cute you are. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. What's with the dark glasses?
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ow, Charlie!
There's that logo right there. Check it out. The Do Not Talk logo you can get on a mug of your own, a big old 15-ounce mug. And I like big mugs. I cannot lie. And them other brothers can't deny. And the two things we do talk about, religion and politics, on Do Not Talk. We also have a shirt, too, that says God, Family, Country on the back. It's an awesome shirt. Very good quality. Thick but soft. Neck stays up where it's supposed to stay. And you can get all of this at do-not-talk.com. That's our website. Do-not-talk.com. And while I'm encouraging you to buy American-made products, may I suggest, and I'm very proud to have them as a sponsor of my show, MyPillow. Mike Lindell's one of my heroes, and he's been so targeted and attacked by media, by big box stores. Even Walmart took his product out. won't sell it in their own stores anymore. So it's all online. He's built himself a store now, like 40 different products, all super high quality products too. I know because I have a bunch of them. I bought them. I paid for them before I became an affiliate with My Pillow. So please buy some stuff so I can make my money back. You use my middle name Lee as your promo code. That'll get you up to 80% off on a lot of the products. Go to mypillow.com/LEE. mypillow.com/Lee. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, for your dining and dancing pleasure, Leslie Sawyer. Hello, beautiful.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being had. That's my favorite joke. Thanks for setting me up. So I saw you at the GOP meeting in the county where I live, and I'm like, "Who is this girl?" And she comes up to me and goes, "I know you. I'm booked to be on your show." I'm like, "Oh, you are? Who are you?" "I'm Leslie Sawyer, Moms for Liberty." You were there
Mhm.
at this county GOP meeting to talk about some things that are going on with a school board race coming up. You can get
Yes.
into that if you want. I have no problems. You can unleash the fury if you want to. But I do want to talk about your affiliation with Moms for Liberty. When did that start? How did that get going? You're in Shasta County, right?
I am. I'm in Shasta County. My friend Katie and I, we are involved. We wear multiple hats. We do all kinds of stuff. And we kept trying to reinvent the wheel. And Moms for Liberty kept popping up and kept popping up and kept popping up. Well, Moms for Liberty has the blueprint for everything we were fighting. So Katie and another group, they organized a school walkout during COVID, and we got 46% of the county to stay home. That then resulted in some emails circulating the Capitol and the vaccine mandate being pulled. They were trying to push through legislation to have a vaccine mandate, and they pulled that as a direct result of our walkouts. So,
Thank
um,
God you did. And you were labeled by our own government as being, what was it, a terrorist organization or something like that?
well, not by our own government. The Southern Poverty Law Center labeled
That's it.
Moms for Liberty. And,
That's who.
people care just about as much about what Southern Poverty Law Center thinks about people as we think about, what Joe Biden thinks of his own constituents. So,
Right.
there's that.
I love what you all do. I've been saying all along that if this country is going to be saved by anybody, it's unfortunately going to be saved by the women. And I say that as a slam to my own fellow male species, in that we have dropped the ball and we've sat back and we've been too drunk, fat, lazy, sitting around watching sports and talking about frickin' Taylor Swift instead of being involved with what's going on with our children and with our families. Eh,
Yeah.
am I being unfair to men in general?
Men in general, probably not. I will say, I'm blessed to be part of a area where there are a lot of really good men fighting. Shasta County is doing a lot, not just for Shasta County, but for the state and the country. And I'm proud to be one of the women behind the men that are doing all of it. But when it comes to education and it comes to our kids, I think there's just stuff they don't understand. And that takes a mom. When they're messing with our kids, the dads are right behind us, ready to say, absolutely not with our kids, but we know how to fight on that mother level. So, there's that.
I love it. I think it's fantastic, and the left has no idea how to react to it. That's what's so hilarious to me, because they're not used to women actually standing up against them like this. Because
Right.
usually they can count on the women to go, "Well, I need to consider their feelings."
Right. Well, and
If
the
you're
left's really just not used to anybody standing up at all. I
good
think
point.
we're shocking them when we're standing up. Shasta County, we just voted to remove the voting machines, and the left and the Capitol building didn't know what to do. And so they did the only thing they could do, and they legislated against us and made it illegal to hand count. So, they're
This is
not used to
insane.
pushback.
Yeah, that was one of your board of supervisors, right? Kevin
Mhm.
Cry, is it? And then they
Yep.
immediately launched a recall effort.
Yeah. So we have a few board of are a few supervisors who are doing great things, and they were going to recall no matter what because they lost the majority. They just chose to recall Kevin because he had the smaller victory. So there was no basis. He has done nothing wrong. He just, they thought, was going to be the lower hanging fruit. And it looks like they're wrong. Right now, he's winning his recall.
In other words, it was unsuccessful, or at least at this
Yep.
point, because they're still taking forever to count votes.
Yep.
But was that okay? You just had primaries, just like we did all throughout the state.
Yep.
Was it all hand ballot? Was it all paper ballot?
No, well, the mail-in ballots,
There
but
it is.
they would not allow us to hand count. So we got a different
How do they
contract with
get
a
away with
different.
that? That was the state that said you can't
Mhm.
hand count, right?
Yeah,
That seems highly illegal to me.
you would think so. Local control is supposed to be the supreme law, but you know,
What's going to happen with that? Anybody going
um,
against that? Going after that?
absolutely. We have a group that is fighting it in the court system. They've filed some lawsuits and they're trying to
Thank
fight
you, Lord.
it, but
Thank you,
we'll see
Lord.
how
Please
that
help
goes.
them. Please let them be successful in your name, Christ Jesus. Please let them be successful. Amen
Oh
and
yeah.
amen. Now,
Amen.
Shasta County encouraged other counties to also look into the same possibility. So
Yes.
they had to quickly shut that down to shut up any other county that might be thinking about doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. They've done it to us a few times. So Shasta County does something and then they make legislation. Shasta County successfully recalled a supervisor. Then they made a law where the governor gets to appoint that replacement. So the Sacramento legislator loves to respond to Shasta County. And we just love to keep fighting. So we're going to keep fighting.
I love
And
it.
so we have huge, great patriot groups that do a lot. And Moms for Liberty is just one of those.
I love to ask this for everyone I've had on from Moms for Liberty. I ask them all the same question. What was the catalyst? What was the point where, tell me about your children and what was it that you saw or heard that flipped that switch for you?
Well, COVID, I mean, was for everybody probably the answer that you get. But really, my middle child is a type 1 diabetic, and we didn't know what this was and we didn't know what to expect. So we kept her on distance learning longer because she had just been diagnosed. So we had a new disease we were working with that we didn't know. And then we have this unknown virus that we're working with. So in that, I started getting more involved, but I had already worked in education. So I knew how it all worked. My dad's been a school board member my whole life. But when we saw that there were parents that would go vaccinate their kid for a $50 gift card, we decided we had to stand up, not for our kids. Our kids were going to be okay because we care and we're involved, but we needed to stand up for the other kids. My partner, Katie, her kids go to a private school. They were going to be fine, but she works at a public school and she knew she had to stand and fight. And so, really, Moms for Liberty Shasta County is more about the people who want to fight for everybody else's kids who won't stand up.
Um, were you appalled at how many people lined their little kids up to get this poison injected into them without even questioning? I mean, were you amazed by that, especially considering children are not even susceptible to this particular flu virus? And even if they were, it's a 99.8% survivability rating of this.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
telling people in the very beginning, because it happened to a friend of mine. You want to die? Check yourself into the hospital. They'll make sure you do because they get a nice fat paycheck from it.
Yeah. I went to the school multiple times about them promoting vaccine clinics on campus and about different schools that were actually hosting vaccine clinics on campus. And we encouraged people to keep their kids home that day. But they were handing out flyers promoting it offering gift cards if you got your kid vaccinated. They were doing the vaccine clinics across the street from the schools, and they were targeting low income neighborhoods. So they were targeting places where the students and their parents had a low income lifestyle, and a gift card would be appealing and it would be helpful. And that is pure evil. That is people who should not be in our government system. And luckily, our head of our medical department for our county was removed during COVID for decisions like this. So she has been removed. Our board of supervisors removed her during COVID.
Awesome.
And
Oh, that's awesome.
yes. So we actually have a new health director, and he's amazing, Dr. Moo. He stood up for people during COVID. He spoke out against the mistruths. He's fantastic. His wife is amazing, super involved in the community. So I think that if something like this comes through again, we have no chance that they're going to push this and use that type of sales tactics. So
the audacity of it, and then to tell us was to protect the community, is to protect everybody
yeah.
around you. We got to get this done. When you have teachers yelling at kids who aren't wearing their mask properly, saying, "You're trying to kill me. You're trying to kill my grandmother." Yeah,
My
and this
daughter had My
insanity.
daughter had a teacher that told her students that if they didn't get the vaccine or they didn't get a mask or wear the masks, that they would kill somebody that they loved. And my daughter stood up in class and was like, "Nope, that's not true." So I'm definitely raising a little patriot warrior that definitely has no problem standing up to mistruths. But there were kids that were wanting to go get the vaccine because their second grade teacher was telling them that they would kill somebody. And
And
that's
then
terrifying.
I don't know about up where you were, but down here there were pigs that were throwing little pizza parties, and if you got the shot, you got a piece of pizza.
Yeah, that's
To children, kindergarten.
yep. Well, unfortunately,
People,
even though COVID is over, they are still pushing the next medical agenda on our kids. And
and
that
it won't stop because they won't stop because the government
right.
is their religion. They won't go. They're not going away. Even if we do flip school boards, which in the county I live, we flipped several of them, thank God. But even still, now they're just going underground. They're doing everything through the administration. You have communists and groomers in public education that are ensconced like ticks, and they've got their nice big paycheck. They got their nice big benefit package going on. They're not going anywhere. And who
Right.
fires them? Who do they answer to? And you, of course, have higher echelons in California state government who are all on board with, it seems like, corralling everyone, making them comply. And if you don't, we don't care if you die. If they really cared about our health and how much, keeping the community safe, why are they letting millions of illegals come across the border without even frickin' testing them for the same flu virus, whether they're contagious or not, whether they have it or not? They're not being forced to take any shots. All these millions that are coming across the border. That's a lie. You don't care at all. It's all. What's the bottom line to all of this, Leslie? What's in it for them?
It's money. And the newest thing is transitioning our students. They want to medically transition minors because they get $400,000 for everyone that they do it to. That's what it is. The medical industry, the government, they do it and they make money off of this stuff. So
You just said something I'd never even heard before. What do you mean? Where's this coming from? How do you know this?
So I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but for every child that fully transitions, there's a huge dollar amount over their head because they have all the medical intervention trainings, they have all the hormone replacement therapies, they have the surgery itself. And when that's being promoted in a school system through what they're trying to push next, which is the community schools, that's a huge thing that's coming to California. And they're working with the Department of Health and they're working with the Department of Education to push this thing where they get to take and medically treat your student on campus, bill your insurance, bill Medi-Cal. And if your kid's over 12, you have no say in it. You have no anything. And all of this is happening. All of this is coming. There's a huge group in Moms for Liberty that's going to be bringing this to all the different boards, making them aware. Our Department of Health is already looking into it. Our Board of Supervisors are looking into it. It's coming. Community schools are coming. Community schools sound like a good idea. It's not. It is a government paycheck way to use your kids in the medical system to make money and own your child.
Tell me about these community schools. This is different from our current public education socialist system?
So it's your same school system. They're not changing the schools. They've been introducing pieces of this for a while. If your school has a wellness center, that's part of this community schools model. Those wellness centers, like we all know because of Project Veritas, they're grooming centers. So if you have that, if you have behavior professionals that are working with your kids, they have all these things and they name them really well to make it sound really positive, but most of it has a messaging behind it. Most of it has an agenda, and most of it is not good for your kids.
How do, especially my mom was a single mom. She didn't make enough money to be able to put us into any kind of a private school or church school or anything like that. She didn't lean that way anyway, so she never would have. She just thought the public school was just fine. And I'm here to tell you, even at my age, I already know that there's been an infiltration into public schools now for a long time. And these are people who are hell bent on doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. Their father is the father of lies. And every time I hear anybody on the right, especially in the media, go, yeah, but there's a whole lot of really good teachers. No, stop saying that. Because if they were really good, they'd be standing up and saying something. They'd be talking to the media about what's really going on. Of course, the media would ignore them. They'd lose everything, wouldn't they? So if you're a really good teacher, but you're still sitting back and allowing this to go on and not getting away from it, that puts you in a bad category in my book, at least. And that might sound way too judgmental, but I know because I've lost a lot because of choices I've made when I said, yeah, I'm standing on the right, even if everyone else is going the other direction and I stand alone. I don't care. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop until they stop me, or until the Lord says, come on up, son, good and faithful servant, well done, which I pray he does. But it's insane what's going on. But I feel sorry for the single parents, especially, who, what do? They can't get their kid out of public school. They can't afford it. They don't have the money. What do they do?
So we actually, Katie and I especially, don't believe that we have to blow up the school system to make it better. We have, like I said, Shasta County is a unique place. We do have good school boards. We do have good school districts, and we do have good teachers who are standing up and who are fighting. We have districts that never masked their kids. We have districts that didn't shut down. We just want to get that message to everybody. We want people to stand up and fight so that other counties can see that it's possible. So Katie and I would like to see 75 new school board members run this November and take over, because there are too many that might be good people that are doing nothing. And so if you're doing nothing, you're a rubber stamp for the government. And so if you have done nothing, we want to replace you with somebody who will do something.
Your silence is being complicit.
Silence is consent. Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned someone named Katie 4 or 5 times. Who's that?
So Katie's my partner in crime. She's the vice chair of Moms for Liberty Shasta County. She was the one, her and her husband, Arthur Gorman, who he sits on our county board of education.
Wait, hold on a second. Did you just say Arthur Gorman?
Arthur Gorman.
I love that guy.
I know. I get that reaction a lot.
Love that guy. I just met him recently. We've never met in person, but we've been communicating. That he's awesome.
He is a warrior. He's a warrior, and I am proud to call him friend.
Yeah, it's a good name.
So yeah, the two of them, they've done so much for our community. So I can't ever do anything and take credit without giving them credit back.
Oh,
So
that's good. Well, that's good. You're a good friend. You have 3 children? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
What are their ages?
3, 10, and almost 14.
Oh, good heavens.
Yep.
Wow, girl. And how many ball games and is the oldest boy or girl?
My oldest is a boy. We play year-round basketball. So
I was gonna
um,
say you got to be ushering off to shuttling off to basketball games and
mhm.
everything else that's going on, huh?
Yep.
14. Wow.
Yep.
You're busy. What's your day job?
I work for Mountaintop Media. We do conservative podcasts, but we also just launched Mountaintop Times. And Mountaintop Times is going to be a conservative news network that will give you written and video news. And it doesn't have the left leaning propaganda to it. It is just a story to tell the story. You make your decisions, but we want to give news with solutions. So I get it. I work as the producer and I do all of the social media and advertising and all of that. So
Well, I hope they're doing well because it's been my experience since I ventured into the world of podcasting about 2 years ago now. That it doesn't pay a lot, at least
no,
not yet. Lord willing,
no,
maybe it'll pay for it. No.
we keep thinking
Uh,
we're right there on that edge, but yeah, no, it's less a money maker and more just a way to get the information to people because there's too
this
many
is my
people that
ministry.
yeah, there's too many people that don't have the information and are uneducated and they get their information from TikTok and Facebook. And so our owner, John Knight, he is just a generous person who has a passion to get the information out there. And so if we reach one person and tell one person the truth, then he's happy. So he's one of those amazing
This,
patriots.
this is our hill to die on.
Yep.
This is our way in the future, unless they effectively shut down the internet. Which who knows? That there's a lot of people. In fact, Stu Peters is quite convinced that that's coming, especially before the November election. But this is how we're getting. This is how we're communicating with each other. We can't count on the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt anymore. We can't even
No,
count on our local news people anymore. We haven't been able to count on them for years. You just didn't
no,
realize it. Been in the business all my life. I know how they lie, and they lie by omission more than anything, leaving stuff out, not telling you about things, not telling you what's going on. That's how they lie to you. And why would they do it? Well, after the deregulation of the FCC ownership rules in the 90s by frickin' Bill Clinton, the corporations started buying up whole huge swaths of mom and pop radio and television stations and newspapers. And they're brought to you by Pfizer, and they're brought to
mhm,
you by all these different huge corporations who, if something, and I said this back in the 90s, I've been on in media all my life. And I
yeah,
said this then. You realize what's coming? There's going to come a time where there's going to be about 3, 4 companies that's going to own everything. Dang, that happened. And then they're going to have these monstrous corporate sponsorships and advertisers who will, if something bad happened, one of those advertisers did something very, very bad, very nefarious, and hurt a lot of people, that media corporation's not going to report on it. You're not going to know
right.
about it. There's not going to be any objective reporting when there's millions of dollars behind it in advertising revenue. Go away. They'll just look the other way. Ding, that's happened. And now it's shut down all of us.
Hmm.
My last job, I got fired for being too conservative on a station that had Ben Shapiro in the lineup, and I'm too conservative because I'm talking about things like this. And how dare I? You're
Right.
not supposed to talk about things, especially locally
Yeah.
in the Northern California Sacramento market, which is extremely left for the most part. But you're up in Shasta County, which is fantastic. You got some great patriots up there, and
Yeah,
it's
we
not
do.
an accident that Hank Williams Jr. mentioned Northern California when he was talking about a country boy can't survive, because he knows Northern California, man, is nothing like the southern part of the state. We got some people who actually do respect our constitutional republic and our United States of America, and know that this is a gift from the Lord, that never in the entire history of the world has citizens had more freedom to actually regulate how they're going to be governed. But when you have our own fellow conservatives sitting back and not even showing up for primary elections, a third of the state claims to be Christian, but only about 40% of them are even registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fight against that, sister?
They say that they don't want to get involved, that politics are too messy. Let me tell you, as a mom, as somebody who quit youth sports to do politics, politics has less politics than youth sports. So if you can do youth sports, if you can be a fan of a football team, you can join politics. You can promote politics, because the thing is,
Oh my
one,
God.
if somebody's being a jerk in politics, I don't have to deal with their mom. So for me, it's easier. But also, dealing in politics, if I root for the right team and we win, things change. If I stand by and do nothing, nothing changes. If I'm rooting for a sports team, nothing happens either way. So I just encourage everybody, start rooting and cheering for the people who are actually doing things to make your life better. And it, once you get involved and once you pay attention, it doesn't take that much work. There's good people out there fighting for you, and some of the best people I've ever met are out there fighting for your rights while you sit there and do nothing.
And may I suggest too that instead of giving $5, $6, $8 of your hard-earned money every day to frickin' Starbucks, who despises you, so they can turn around and give a great deal of that money to Planned Parenthood and other such organizations. May I suggest you stop that, maybe make your own coffee, or maybe cut back on it and start supporting some of this local media like these folks here, mountaintopmedia.com. I checked you out. It's a great website. You got some excellent shows on there, including you and your friend Katie,
Yes, we do.
mountaintopmedia.com. You were, and hey, how about supporting me too? Help me stay on the air. Do-not-talk.com. Do-not-talk.com. The ways you can give and support are there at that website. And thank you. May God bless you in advance for all your help, for keeping people like us going, getting information out to you. You came down to the area where I live and went to a GOP meeting to speak out about something. They never let you get up there and talk. What was that? Or would you rather not get into it?
Yeah, no, I'm good. There is a candidate that's running for city council, and as Moms for Liberty, we just wanted to make them aware of how that candidate's been voting in the school system. Because when you rubber stamp for the government, and when you accept grants and different things from the government, those all come with strings. And if you're going to do that in a school system and you're going to do that on a school board, you're going to do that in city council. And I think my biggest thing personally, as somebody involved with the GOP, I am not a member because I feel like the members aren't doing enough. I'm a volunteer who works harder than some of the members. And that I find a lot of that. A lot of the volunteers are doing a lot of the work. And I think if the GOP is going to endorse a candidate, they need to endorse a candidate that stands for the platform that the GOP stands for. And if you're rubber stamping big government and you're accepting grants and government programs, you're not standing for what the GOP stands for. You're standing for big government. And that's not what the GOP stands for. Unfortunately, they voted, and I think they did endorse the candidate when they had another candidate who served our country and was a very selfless person who is anti-big government. So I would just, as Moms for Liberty, seeing how somebody's voted in their voting history, we don't endorse candidates, but we can bring attention to the decisions that they made and how they failed our kids. And they made policies on that board that allowed a workaround they had the chance to have a parental rights notification policy. And that specific board chose to go with it, but they made a loophole, and that gave the people like the Wellness Center an opportunity to see kids before school, during breaks, and after school, where they don't have to report to the parents. And that's not okay. They're advertising that. Come see us before school, where we don't have to tell your parents what's going on. Come see us during breaks, where we don't have to report what's going on. And that was brought to this person's attention multiple times, and they still
And
voted.
remember, if anyone remembers Project Veritas before James O'Keefe was discarded by the very group that he started, and he's doing very well with James O'Keefe. What is it again? O'Keefe Media Group. OMG, he's doing very well. I mean, he's even better as far as I'm concerned. But the point being, Project Veritas busted that whole thing with that Reverend Casey Tenen in the little town of Loomis, who was grooming children to, well, why don't you try homosexuality? Yeah, listen, it's not, what's it going to hurt? And here's some different things that you can do to make it better for you. And don't tell your parents. Yeah, don't tell your parents. They just won't understand. That's just terrible. I wish they did. Come to me, the Reverend. I love you. I'll take care of you. That's going on. That's in these wellness centers that Leslie's talking about right now. And that's happening now. And they're getting funded. They're getting education funds now, aren't they?
Yes. And a lot of the grant funding, and a lot of the grant funding that they're getting comes with strings. And they need to understand there's no such thing as free money. So when you see free money and it has any type of string attached to our kid, you are putting handcuffs on our kids and you are enslaving our children. And so if it is free money and it has a quid pro quo that includes our kids, then say no. It is okay to say no to free money and send it back. It's okay to say we're not going to do that. And that's what we need. That's what we're looking for, is board members who have the backbone to stand up and say, we don't need that money. We don't want your strings.
You can say this person's name if you want to. I don't care. But I will tell you this, that I don't trust anybody who won't come on my show.
Yeah.
And the invitation's been the whole time. Year after year, I've been inviting this person to be on my show, and there's always a reason, or I don't hear back or whatever. And I'm like, that makes me suspicious. Not because I'm all that great, but if you have somebody in the media who's actually conservative and who's on your side, why would you not want to go on that show unless you have something to hide?
Yeah, I'm not from, well, I am from Placer County. I grew up down there part-time when I was a kid. But I don't live there. I don't vote there, but I can say based on my experience, if you're voting in the city of Roseville for city council, I would vote for Nick Bussey. I think he's your better candidate.
Got it. What was his name again?
Nick Bussey, Bussey. He's a 13-year veteran. He's polished. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't believe in big government. He fought for our government. He knows how it works. So he's going to be your better candidate. And it's not going to be a you scratched my back, so I'll scratch yours type situation.
Which I have sure learned there's a whole lot of that going on.
There's a whole lot.
California GOP. I've grown to hate my own party in the state of California. I tell everybody, don't give them a dime. You give directly to the candidates that you support now. Maybe if you have a good central committee, give your money to them. But otherwise, don't give a dime to the state GOP or to the national Republican Party either. But now that Ronna McDaniel's been, I'm thinking fantastic. Maybe it's time to get behind that again. But no, we got to act locally. Act locally. That will impact nationally. Concentrate on local. And turn to people like groups like Moms for Liberty to get some recommendations on who, because they're doing the vetting. They're doing the vetting, and they're in the fight all the time. And if anybody wants to join you or be a part of it or follow what you're doing, where do we find you? What do we do?
So the easiest way, and actually I just had this pulled up, we have a huge event coming up at Wind River Casino in Reading on April 4th. And if you want to attend that, you can text us. Text M, the number 4L, to 530-285-3665. Or you can visit us mountaintopmedia.com or momsforliberty.org.
Say that phone number again to text. We text what again?
You text M, the letter M, 4L, to 530-285-3665. And that will give you all the information to join Moms for Liberty, to get the newsletter, to get our dialers, and to sign up for our event.
And this event happening April 4th, yeah, that's a Thursday.
That is a Thursday. What's happening is they're having a huge rally at the Capitol that morning, and Aaron Friday and Chloe Cole are going to be there. I know, they're amazing. And they're going to be speaking out against the dangers of transitioning minors. There's a couple bills that we're trying to get pushed through, and Protect Kids California has partnered with Moms for Liberty. So we have one ballot initiative with 3 parts. It's notifying parents, no boys and girls spaces, no girls and boys spaces, and no medical transitioning of minors. So they're going to be there. We're going to play a video. We're going to promote the initiatives, and they're going to both speak.
And that's where again?
That is in Reading, at Wind River Casino. There's room for 900 people, and it's only $10 a person. You see 2 speakers, there's refreshments, and there's a movie, and the movie is amazing. It's a detransition.
I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to help. I'd like to cover it, actually. I'd like to maybe do some interviews there and do some live broadcasting from it. It's a tough sell on a Thursday night, though, especially since it won't be yet quite summer vacation. But and most people think about trips for their little, their little Resurrection Sunday getaway and so on.
It is spring break. It is spring break, and we do encourage people, if you have a junior high or high school age student, to bring your kids. It is good. The movie is okay for that, and I think there's a lot in it that they need to see, because they're being told a lot of lies. I would not bring anybody younger than probably 7th grade,
though. You're extraordinary. Thank you so much for being on the show, and you're welcome anytime. And anything I can do to help what you're doing, absolutely.
And we will have you on as well.
Well, I would be honored, but thank you. That's not why I do this, but thank you. MountaintopMedia.com. This is Leslie Sawyer, and you hang on, don't go away, okay? As she goes away. No, I did that. I want to thank you very much for being a part of what we're doing here on Do Not Talk, talking about 2 things you're never supposed to talk about: religion and politics, and I think we just covered them both pretty well. You want to support us, you really can at do-not-talk.com, do-not-talk.com. Also, you want to buy American? I know how. American-made products. It's a company in Idaho Falls, Idaho, the Wellness Company, not to be confused with Wellness Centers. The Wellness Company has over 400 products. And it's kind of like Costco. You buy your membership to go to Costco, and it meets Amazon. You don't have to go to an actual store. It's all online. And it's all word of mouth. They don't do any big promotions. They don't do any big advertising at all. It's all word of mouth. So you can either just buy the product, or you can do like me. You can actually get rewarded for sharing what they're selling and what they're doing with others. And so I invite you to join me. And you can find everything you need to know at freedomswitchusa.com/Charlie. CHARLEE, because my name's Charles Lee. That's freedomswitchusa.com/Charlie. You'll thank me for it. American-made products, family-owned and operated over 30 years out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. Beautiful city, beautiful little town, beautiful community. So that's freedomswitchusa.com/Charlie. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, may America bless God.